Welcome back to another Pen Talk. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for sticking with me with another subject near and dear to me, which is Chinese fountain pens. This video was inspired by two pens I recently received. One I bought on eBay, and one was a present from a fellow pen aficionado at the local Pelican Hub I went to. In this nice embroidered fabric pen case here. Chinese brand I was not familiar with. There's a few models for sale. None of them look like this one or this model. And the other pen that I got a few days ago was this Hero 12002. So let's take the Luoshi out of its little sleeve. Very nice little gift from a fellow pen user. And you'll see why I consider these all similar. They all look like the Pilot 78G, which is this red one in the middle. These are two Wingsung Luckies in a Hero, and there's some discussions of Hero and Wingsung being the same company, so I would assume that means that Hero has reintroduced the Wingsung brand and is making pens. I don't have a lot of Heroes, I have a lot more Wingsung, so I can't make that assumption based on the pens that I've experienced. But if we just look at these two here, which is a Hero and a Wingsung, because they're both clear, so they have some commonalities. One is gold on the Hero and silver on the Wingsung. You know, you have your Hero on the clip and your Lucky, which is the Wingsung branding. All of these pens share one thing in common. There's some writing that's painted on the bottom of the cap. These particular ones have that internal facets, which are interesting. You know, your classic top finial there that holds on the clip. I'm assuming that can be unscrewed if you need to. These could probably all be eyedroppered, but I haven't eyedroppered any of the other ones. But I did eyedropper this Wingsung. As you can also see, the facets are the same. So the Wingsung and the Hero are pretty much the same pen and have a same type of Pilot design nib on it. What I was amazed about was this pen here. When I uncapped it, I didn't see your classic Pilot design nib. I see your classic platinum nib, or also similar to what Lama uses on their lower-end pens. You know, the nib is branded, which is nice. It's an interesting little logo. The barrel is clear and plain, and you have the little indent in the bottom. This is probably made in the same mold, or the molds that were, for whatever reason, first brought to China or made up in China. So basically all the components to these pens are pretty much identical, except for this one has a different type of nib on it. And here's the original 78G. I mean, the same type of angles and same type of design on the clip, same way the clip is attached to the cap. The quality on the Pilot is a little different. The color is slightly different. We got some sunlight and some LED light. Yeah, you got your gold trim, your gold hardware versus your silver hardware. And then when you open them up, that's also reflected on the nibs. But of course this 78G has my double broad, which I really love. And there's no comparison if you're going to talk about what kind of ink's going to be laid down by these two different pens. This is definitely on the extra fine side. It's not labeled, but that's what I would expect. And you have your classic Pilot feed here, which is on most of the other pens, and your classic platinum feed that supports that small winged nib. The other pens have like metal bands here at the bottom of the section where the 78G does not. It's a little bit easier comparison here. We got the green Wingsung and the Pilot. Easy to tell because of the difference in the nibs. And you notice there's some tarnishing on the Wing Sung nib. That's unusual. It certainly is not something you'd want to see on a fountain pen, and I'll check the ink that I put in there, but I don't think there was anything unusual about that ink that would have caused. I've never had another nib do that in any of my newer pens. And again, the metal band there at the bottom of the top of the section, bottom of the section, however you want to call it. You know, if you unscrew these, obviously the Pilot has that aerometric squeeze converter, and Wing Sung has your classic piston converter. But everything else is pretty interesting except for that one metal band. On the transparent version, there is no metal band there. Or maybe I lost it when I took it apart, who knows. But this has a gold-plated nib, and there doesn't appear to be any discoloration here, and this has been inked up for as long as the green one has, but it's, you know, slightly different with the transparent feed. This is a pen that I use a little bit more regularly than I expected because it has a really fine nib on it and it works well on inexpensive paper, and it is branded there 659 around the bottom of the cap, and as you can see there's been some wear, which is what I expected. You know, this is not made to the same quality as the 78G. So these pens from 3 different manufacturers share a substantial amount of common elements. You know, based on my view, they appear to come from almost identical molds. They're all injection molded parts that are assembled to make the pen. The clips are definitely the same shape and design on all of these pens. So, you know, knockoffs, mimics, imitations, however you want to call it. You know, to me, a knockoff is something that's actually branded and meant to deceive the consumer, the buyer. But these are certainly meant to stand on their own, and if you didn't know about the other brands or the other similarities of that it shares with other pens, each pen by themselves stands on their own. So I've written with some of these already. You know, I'm not a fan of these extra fine nibs. As I mentioned, this one here I've gotten to enjoy for certain particular writing, but it's not something I write with for a long period of time, and certainly wouldn't be one of my letter writing pens. I just wanted to give you a quick overview of what I consider to be these common design elements, and we'll show you those eBay auctions so you can put them in perspective. And a shout out for this nice little pen case. It's nice when you go to pen events like the Pelican Hub or local pen club meetings or pen shows. It's great people you meet, great interactions, interesting discussions, and you get to swap a lot of stories and pens and inks and paper. So it's an interesting experience, and one that hopefully as many viewers as possible take advantage of if they're available in their area. Since this is the other new pen to my edition, we thought we'd look at it a little bit closer. You know, a Hero nib, which is branded, which is nice. A Hero logo there in the middle above the word Hero, and then some engraving around the nib. It's a single tone nib, but what would you expect? The feed and section are similar to what we saw on the Wing Sung 659. The converter is also a little similar. You got that little spring in there to keep the ink from clinging to the sides. You know, the converter isn't totally clear, but you know, it is a little clearer than some of the other ones, so it kind of works well with the pen. You know, the clip is branded, and there's your normal lettering at the bottom of the cap giving you your model number and your brand. And this has that same type of niblet Pilot uses on other pens, so you can swap out this nib with other Pilot nibs if you want. So in summation, none of these pens I would consider to be in the very inexpensive category, which I would say would be under $4 US. They're all over that. You know, I don't know what the price was on the Luoshi, but considering what I've seen on eBay, they're generally above $5. So this one probably is too. And maybe the pen manufacturers, know they're going after the Pilot 78G market, which is north of $10. I've seen them north of $20 on occasion. And undependable supply kind of lends itself to those pricing points. It's a good workhorse knockaround pen. The Metropolitan Cocoon is like a metal version of that, and it comes in a lot more variety, but not necessarily the types of nibs that are in the 78G. So are these pens worth it? I would say pass, in my opinion. Yeah, I like the 78G for its unique nibs, but not for its fine and medium nibs. They're all very light pens, so that's something that you need to consider. They're also, I would say, on the medium small side, so that's the other thing to consider. But they are everyday workhorse pens. You're going to probably get some wear on them, so if that's something that would concern you, then that would certainly limit your enjoyment of the pen. So from those of you who have watched my recent Chinese reviews, I have found some I consider real bargains, excellent writers and well-engineered pens, and some of them have some common attributes, and many of them have their own unique attributes, which I think is very good indication of the health of the fountain pen business in China. And thankfully, due to global marketing and global sales and eBay and Amazon and other avenues, we're able to experience and enjoy some of these nice writing instruments from China. So with that, we'll say goodbye until next time. May all you have great writing experiences, enjoy ink, pen, and paper to their fullest. It's a great world out there. Should be enjoyed. Till later, bye.